Tony Hawkins has got a podcast. I hope he's better at this than he is washing the kit, because he was fucking useless.
Alright, Tony, the pizza's made a reappearance, you'll have noticed earlier on.
I hope it's not the same one from 2 weeks
That
ago.
is. I've run it under.
Left it there from the previous recording.
I've run it under a hot tap, Tony. That's just warmed it up a bit. It's fine. That'll
exactly
be fine.
That's how you keep stuff fresh. I'm pretty sure that's what you do.
Yeah, I seen that on some cooking thing on the telly. I'm trying to think of something, but Celebrity MasterChef. That's right. Whap a pizza.
Yeah, they're always running stuff underwater.
Under hot taps, Tony. That warms it up for you.
Yeah, not cold water. That's not good for it.
Oh no, God, you can't warm a pizza up under cold water, Tony. You're just being stupid now. Quite honestly.
I'm not a savage.
No. Right then, how are you feeling? Because you weren't very well last week, were you, Tony?
Was not well at all. I'm still not 100%.
You sound alright, mate, I'll be honest. You sound fine, mate, I'll be honest.
Yeah, wait till I start coughing and then...
we're getting some coughing later on.
There might be a lot of editing to do. Yeah.
I'm just going to have a bit I'm having a bit of pepperoni. You entertain the listeners while I chew some pepperoni.
I had cheeseburgers for dinner.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, Iceland do a double burger with cheese in the middle.
Well, that sounds nice, that.
Oh, they are very, very nice. Couple of seeded rolls.
Oh, Tony, you've piqued my interest.
Yeah. This is the single life culinary journey I'm on.
Lifting the lid there, Tony, on the single man's.
Yeah, that's it, mate. My freezer is just full of stuff like that. It's just chuck it in the air fryer, off you go. Thanks very much.
I was in a house yesterday, they had an air fryer, they were doing potatoes, and I thought, oh, that smells really, really, really nice, that. Really
honestly,
does.
mate, it cooks everything. And
quite
I
nice.
my cooker was condemned because of a small gas leak.
Oh, well, only a small one.
Yeah, and I don't miss it at all. The only thing that I can't do, or that I would have done on the cooker, is poached eggs. But I can still do. I can do poached eggs in my air fryer anyway. So, and they come out just as good. But the problem is, because you have to steam them or pressure cook them. I steam them.
Right.
You can only put them on for 1 minute.
All right. Well, I'm not a fan of the poached egg, I'll be honest. I'm more of a pizza man, Tony, as you can hear.
Oh, I love a poached egg. A good poached egg. I might have a
poached egg this weekend. It's Easter. We should get eggs because it's Easter, isn't it, this weekend?
Yeah, I don't buy many eggs these days, but I can cook pretty much anything in that air fryer, and I do very much like it. Yes, indeed.
Tony.
But anyway,
this content, Tony, is what the listeners missed last week.
Last week. No talk of poached eggs.
No, there was just me talking bollocks for 20 minutes. Right then, you didn't go then Saturday then, Tony, no?
No, decided against it at literally the last minute. I was at the stadium. Everything was organised. I didn't need to go, although it was requested many times. But I just said no. I'm sticking to my guns here. I do not feel well at all. I wasn't dressed for it anyway. I was in tracky bottoms and shaved. And I decided last minute, everything was under control. All the collections had been sorted. All the coaches were covered. So I decided not to go, and I'm glad I did.
You made the right choice, mate, to be quite honest, because it was we got on the coach at, well, you know where it was, behind McDonald's.
I'm surprised you didn't see me because I let all the coaches out.
That's weird.
Off Saxon Street.
I was watching a film, Tony. I was watching The Power of the Dog on my phone.
Oh, right.
Which
I
was
have
good.
to say the people behind me weren't too happy that I let out 8 coaches. held up the whole of Saxon Street.
They'll get over it.
Letting these coaches out.
They've forgotten all about it. Yeah, like I said, we got on the coach behind McDonald's. We drove through central London. I'll be talking about the journey in a minute. And when we got off, Tony, We arrived at Wimbledon and it was 1985. Just absolutely unbelievable, mate, what it was like. You said what it was going to be like, and I mean, it was quite literally unbelievable, mate. I mean, it was astonishing what it was like. It just was. It was. I mean, I don't know how else best to describe it. It was quite literally unbelievable what they were like. They were astonishing.
Okay.
These blokes.
It is. I mean, it's why I didn't go, but that is exactly how I've described it in the past. It's like a throwback to the 80s. It's this complete disregard for everything now. And that's not just levelled at their fans either, that's ours as well. Those that went with the intent of...
Well, someone smashed the toilets up, Tony, which was... They were warned against doing it. We warned them on this. The SA warned them on their live Facebook stream. I warned them last week not to do it. And yet, I went down at half-time and someone had smashed the toilets up, which resulted in every single toilet being closed, including the disabled toilets. So you're thinking, when the game finished, you've got an hour and a half, or an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half journey back to Milton Keynes on a coach. You can't go to the toilet, So whoever done that, well done, mate. That was forward thinking, and I was pleased that they smashed the toilets up. No, I wasn't, because it was a ridiculous thing to do, and now we'll get a big bill from Wimbledon, won't we, for the toilets being smashed up?
Yeah, and this is why I'm always going on about double standards of football fans, and ours are no different. No different to any other fans when it comes to stuff like that. And this goes back to 2012, that first game where they smashed up our toilets in the away ends. Yeah. They got a hefty fine for it. We went to Kingsmeadow, did it there.
Did we do it there? I didn't realise that, mate.
Yeah, you could. Again, they closed the toilets because they'd been smashed up. This was at half time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've seen photos and the videos, and it's all very embarrassing. And just, they ran away. No, we didn't. You ran away. Well, you must have all run away then.
It was a really odd day because, we got on the coach, like we said, we drove down the M1, and when we got to the M25, we just kept going, straight down the M1, and I'm thinking, this is odd, I wonder where we're going. And then when we got to the end of the M1 at Staples Corner, if you were to turn right, that would take you to, where Wimbledon roughly is, but they turned left. I'm thinking,
this was you serious?
Honestly,
this was a very, very clear instruction before the coaches left. When you get to Staples Corner, do not turn left.
No, they turned left, Tony, right, and they went down.
It was very, very clear. It was turn right.
We drove through central London, right? We went down Hyde Park Corner. We drove down Park Lane. This is 7 coaches. We drove down Park Lane. At one point, like I said, I was watching a film on before, and I happened to glance up. And you know what I could see? I could see the Mall, and at the end of the Mall, I could see Buckingham Palace. I shit you not. And I'm thinking, the fucking hell are we going? What is this about? And then we stopped, right?
They were given maps and everything.
Yeah,
and
we
stopped. Their instruction was turn right, not left.
We went down the King's Road, right down. We went right down the whole of the King's Road, right. But we got to this place. I can't think. It might have been Eaton Square. It had an SW1 postcode, and we stopped right in this beautiful place. And I'm thinking, the fucking hell's going on? So I said to the bloke next to me, I said, "Have you any idea where we are or why we've come this way?" Apparently there was a bit of a palaver in the M25, but to go the way they went, and then when we drove all the way down the King's Road, from one end of it to the other, we got to Fulham, we went over the Wandsworth Bridge, and then we were in South London. We were driving along quite the thing. The roads weren't great, and then the lead coach turned down this road, right, it was a residential street. What is a feature, Tony, of residential streets in London? Let me tell you, it's cars parked on both sides of the road.
Cars parked on both sides, and usually one way.
Yes. So we goes down this road, and then we had to turn, and the lead coach got stuck. He couldn't get through. I don't know what he'd done. He'd either taken it too wide or not wide enough, but he got stuck. So there was a massive big queue of cars, and this guy get out and he's like, shaking his fist at the driver, and I'm thinking, flipping heck, this is a disaster. Eventually we did get there, but I mean the journey itself was an odd way to go. I mean, I don't know why they didn't.
So the maps were a pointless addition then.
It would apparently seem so.
To assist with that journey. Yeah, it was made very, very clear before they left. Do not turn left. That was it. It was on the map. It was, you go here, you're going to park there. Oh, well. I mean, there's another good reason not to.
It was quite a journey.
Because the thing is, if you're not on the lead coach,
yeah, you don't know.
There's not a lot you can do because by the time you
it was quite a journey because I downloaded some things onto my phone so I could watch them. So I downloaded Have I Got News For You? That's half an hour. I downloaded The Power of the Dog, and when I checked, it was over 2.5 hours long. And I'd watched both of them, and I still had some time to listen to some music before we got there. So that's over.
I mean, the timing was right because there were a few grumbles about how early they were leaving.
I think we got, I mean, in retrospect, I think probably leaving at 11 o'clock was spot on, really, because we got there.
Yeah, it was because you never know what it's going to be like.
We got there about 2 o'clock, I think, all in all, so it wasn't really that bad, really. And when we got there, we parked a couple of streets behind ground, and from quite literally when we got off the coach until we went into the ground, we were just between a line of coppers or private security guards. I have never seen anything like it. And I said to someone, I've been to Old Firm games and I've never seen anything like this. I'd never seen anything like it, Tony. The amount of police was unbelievable. How much that must have cost? I'm thinking, I hope they're paying for it, not us, because there was quite literally, there was hundreds of police, and I mean, it was astonishing. I mean, I was glad they were there in retrospect after what happened when we got into the ground, but it was unbelievable, mate. Terrible.
Yeah, well, imagine that, but not having any police around you.
You couldn't.
That's why I didn't go.
I mean, you couldn't.
Because it was just I mean, obviously I'm fearful of the same thing happening again, but it probably wouldn't. And it was just a big, bad mistake by the police on the night. But it's just not worth the hassle as far as I'm concerned. And I am so glad I didn't. Everybody who went seems to have had a good time, but at the same time, everybody's saying the same thing. I won't be doing that again.
I won't go again.
I will not be doing that again.
I didn't feel intimidated in the slightest because, I'm an old guy. They don't know who I am, do they? They've no idea who I am. So I was all right. I mean, I was on my own, going down. I met a few people when I was in there, so I was okay. I mean, we went in. I didn't see any of their fans. We went in and it looked quite empty at the time, Let me tell you the first thing that happened. I don't know if anyone else has mentioned this, right? This is the very first thing that happened when we went in the ground, right? I went in the ground and I looked up and I seen Franco and John Samuel and Weldon, and I thought, I'll go and stand beside them. So I'm walking up the stairs and, they were right at the back of the ground. So I got up there, how you doing, blah, 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 this, that, and the next thing. I turned round, right, and we're warming up, right in front of the Dons fans at our end. But if you imagine looking down onto the pitch, to the left-hand side was where some Wimbledon fans were. So we're warming up, right? Everyone's doing, Franco's doing the old goalkeeping. Not that Franco, the actual goalkeeper Franco. He's doing the old keeping and everything else. And, the defensive boys are doing their headers and all that. And this bloke, right, now I'm nearly 60, and I reckon this guy was about my age. He jumped the 2-foot barrier, right? He was a Wimbledon supporter. He jumped the 2-foot barrier and he made a beeline for Louis. Ran straight at him. And I'm thinking, what's this guy doing? And then one of the sort of stewards, he didn't grab him. He sort of, put his arms around him, sort of thing. And and they'd lift this guy's giving it the old fist to Louis and shouting and swearing and stuff. And I'm thinking, bloody hell, what's going on with this bloke? And you know what they done, Tony? I mean, if you had encroached onto a field of play, what do you think should happen to you if you've done that?
Well, we know what should happen, but it's a recurring theme there, isn't it? That they just get shown back to their seat.
He did. He got shown back to his seat, and he was giving it all the. He was still shouting at Louis. He's still, shaking his fists. And then this other bloke come along. He was like a steward, and he had a word with the bloke, and the guy sat down, and I'm thinking, wow. And that, Tony, from there on in, that was the tone was set right there. It was. I thought to myself, that's an odd thing, that is, that guy's done that and he's not been chucked out. But when you think, I mean, the stewards are all volunteers, aren't they? They're all Wimbledon supporters. What do you expect? They're not going to throw the guy out, are they? It's unbelievable.
No, but it's just an example of where they don't believe what they're doing is wrong.
No.
And that is the major problem, is that you can't... It's their ground, yes, but there are rules and regulations, and it's quite clear if you go on the pitch, you will be prosecuted, but unless you're an AFC fan.
When I say he went on the pitch, Tony, he didn't just get, to the byline and sort of 2 or 3 feet in. I reckon this guy was 20, feet in. He was within. He wasn't within touching distance of Louis, but if he'd made an effort, he would have been. It wasn't as if he just got on, to the side of the pitch and was kind of standing there. He ran towards Louis. I'm thinking, fucking hell, mate, you can't do that. But it made no difference, Tony. Have you seen the video when Louis went to take a throw in?
Yeah, where Uncle Albert threw the ball at him and missed him completely and hit the ref.
The ref right in the face. That was quite funny, but there was loads of them, wasn't there? All right. And Louis, I don't really know what he was saying. Obviously, I don't know what he was saying to the ref, but he was laughing. And you're thinking to yourself, I mean, Jesus, I've never seen anyone running on a pitch, Tony, and going for a player, not even at an Old Firm game. I mean, I've never seen that before, never. And that was in the warm-up. The game hadn't even started,
Well, this is it. This is the mentality of we've been wronged, so anything we do wrong ourselves is forgivable and should be ignored because boo-hoo, us. That seems to have been... I mean, eventually someone's going to say, hold on a minute, this lad ran on the pitch and you just showed him back to his seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Why? Why didn't you eject him and prosecute him? Oh, because 20 years ago...
that's what they'll say.
Someone did something really nasty.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And so it's justified that he should run on the pitch and go after a player. I mean, the stuff on the touchline was funny, but again, do you know what that reminded me of?
What's that?
That was exactly, if I was on the other side of the pitch, that was exactly our fans at Wycombe. Absolutely no different whatsoever.
Yeah, I guess. There was one point where...
Identical.
We got a throw in, it was quite near the halfway line, and Louis went to take it. And this bloke ran... He was sat on the corner, where the corner flag was, right? So he's ran half the length of the pitch, this guy, right, to have a go at Louis. I can't remember how it ended, but whatever happened, when he was done, with his, remonstrations of how shit it is that Louis plays for Milton Keynes, he walked back, he, casually walked back and he's high-fiving everyone. And he was high-fiving stewards. And Franco... I was stood next to Franco from the SA and he goes, look at him, he's walking about as if he owns the place. And I goes, well, technically, Franco, he probably does, doesn't he? You just think, fucking hell. It was, apart from those incidents, every time, the ball went out down that end, they were all screaming and shouting. But, apart from those, 3 or 4 incidents where someone ran on the pitch, the game itself, oh God, the game was just, it was the first half was just terrible. It was one of the worst halves of football I've ever seen us play. And it was really odd because they were better than us in the first half. And I'm thinking to myself, you can rouse yourself for this, right? Because you've had it drummed into you what this means, But we just looked, our passes were terrible. KKH, he was a shadow of his former self. Nothing he did, nothing at all came off, nothing. But, Tony... Do you know what's a good idea for a game like that? Playing Connor Wickham. Holy shit. He was... You'd have been better off, Tony, getting, I don't know, a pillar box or a post box and sticking that where he should have been because it would have had much effect.
It's players for games, isn't it?
Yeah, and he was not the player for that game.
He was clearly brought in as the big man up against a defence that was going to be very physical. And it would appear that it just didn't work, which... It's a shame because it's nice to see him get a start and he's a very talented young man, but maybe it was the wrong game, even though it was probably the right decision in terms of the physicality. But
when you think about it,
I listened on the radio and I have to say I drifted in and out. Really, it did seem like it was very much a non-event, and until we started playing better in the second half. I mean,
a tiny little guy up front. He was number 10 and he was really short. And I'm thinking, oh, this is going to work really well. And it actually genuinely did. He was actually their best player. They did sub him in the second half, and when he went off, everyone's, I was stood with goes good. He was a pain in the arse, that bloke. He really, I mean, how they managed to play like that and still be in, the relegation zone is beyond me. They could only arouse themselves because it was us. Because if they played like that for the rest of the season, they'd be comfortably mid-table, Definitely, they would be.
That'll be the disappointing thing for their fans, hasn't it?
That they can rouse themselves for us.
They've won 6 games all season. They've won the same amount of games of Crew. That's how... They've drawn 17. Crew have lost 29, by the way, which is... I mean, that's beyond ridiculously, hilariously bad. But weirdly, their goal difference is actually the same as Doncaster, who've lost 2 fewer. Doncaster have won 9. But AFC have only won 6 games all season, and I think that's now 21, is it? 22 league games without a win for them. But their goal difference is still only minus 23.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're just not very good.
They're not very good.
Could
I mean,
just
their goal came from a bit
surely you can... I know they have had a change of manager, but...
Well, they're putting their...
Not that bad, are they?
But their fans are putting it down to their... their mad... this new guy coming in and this is it. He's got, new manager bounce and we'll be alright, we'll get out of it. But their goal... It wasn't like a scramble, really, but there was an awful lot of players in front of coming. I think, genuinely, you couldn't really blame him for that because there was about 6 or 7 guys stood in front of him. And it was one of those things where the ball could have gone anywhere. Their guy just happened to hit it. He hit it and it went in, So, I mean, you can blame him because he's the keeper, but it wasn't what happened in the second half when we scored, that's for sure. I can guarantee you that.
Did you think that we were not going to score? Was there any... I mean, it's difficult when you listen on the radio, obviously, to gauge a performance because you're not physically watching it.
I was stood next to South Stander. I was stood next to South Stander when we went in, and he said, "Are you nervous?" And I goes, "I'll be honest with you, John." I said, "I'm a bit nervous," and he goes, "Yeah, I am." And it was one of those things because I mean we're both me and him have both been to Old Firm games, and it's a kind of a.
It's the fear of losing.
It's a fear of losing to them, more than anything. If you're a Rangers fan, you don't want to lose to Celtic. If you're an MK Dons fan, you definitely don't want to lose to them. So I did say to John, I goes, "Yeah, I'm a bit nervous, mate, And when, the sort of way the first half went, you thought, oh, this didn't look good. The second half, we were better than them. And, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the goal, but holy shit. Have you seen the goal? I didn't realise... Yeah, I didn't realise at the time that he'd actually caught it on the volley and it went in because, you're in the stands, aren't you? You're all jumping and shouting about. God, Jesus Christ, what a goal that was. I mean, that was...
Again, I know I wasn't on last week, but the goal by Parrott's goal last Tuesday, again, was Louis over the top to Parrott.
Same thing,
and that was, even though that was reasonably early in the game, that was Louis' 3rd attempt at that. So there's definitely something there with him and Troy Parrott that... See, when you play football with players who, and they say on the same wavelength, but I don't necessarily believe that to be the case. What I believe is when you play with players who are as good as you or think the same way.
Yeah.
So putting a ball over to him like that and him taking it on the volley is frankly ridiculous. To take that on the volley like that is. I mean, you could say, 9 times out of 10, he skies that, or it goes out for a throw on the other side of the pitch, or he slices it over his own head. But if you know that a player is capable of that, I was watching a video the other day. Someone was arguing that Rooney's not Rooney. A ball has been played over the top to Robin van Persie for Arsenal, and this ball's gone 60 yards. and Van Persie's hit it first time on the volley from about 25 yards out and scored. And someone was arguing that it wasn't a good assist because it didn't put Robin Van Persie in the perfect position to score, and that's what an assist is. And I said, well, you say that, but he's pinged it 60 yards and Robin Van Persie scored from it. Do you not think that by playing that pass in the first place, the player who's played that pass to Robin Van Persie must think to himself, if I get this to Robin Van Persie, there's a very good chance he'll do something with it and might score a goal. The fact that he took it first time on the volley probably came as a surprise to the bloke who played it to him. But if you're playing with players you know are capable of that, because with all due respect to most of our other players, including our forwards, I wouldn't. If I'd have played that ball to Troy Parrott on Saturday, I'd be thinking to myself, he's capable of doing something here. You know, the ball's in the air. If he takes a touch, the keeper's on top of him, and defenders are around him. So he's hit it first time, and it's no fluke that he got the 10th out of 10 times and scored, because he probably, given the choice of thinking it over, he probably would have done the same thing 10 times out of 10, because he will be of the belief that he's capable of doing it.
Now. The first person that Louis ran to when the final whistle went was him. You know, went straight to him, put his arm round him, whispered something in his ear. You know, I mean, the first thing that your man did, old Parrott done when he scored, was turn round and knee slide right in front of all those blokes that had been trying to get at Louis in the first half.
Harry Darling's over there giving it the shush as well.
Yeah, so that was quite
but yeah,
funny,
I mean, that's why, like I say, the first goal on last Tuesday, was it Crewe? It was Crewe, wasn't it? That was Louis' third attempt at a ball over the top to Parrott, and it paid off the third time.
It's obviously something that they know that you know, the pair of them.
Well, it's something.
Do,
I mean, Louis has been doing that a little bit more often, but it now seems to be that it's almost, you know, Parrott is looking for that, and because he is capable of controlling the ball. I mean, there was that one. Do you remember when he came back after injury and he fluffed his lines and stumbled over the ball on a penalty spot? But now, I mean, Saturday, that goal against Crewe, it's clear that he's in his groove, and if you give him the ball, he's going to do things with it.
They did have another chance after. I'm pretty sure it was after we scored. I'm sure Cumming made a save, but apart from that, towards the end, I wouldn't have been surprised if we'd managed to get another one. But I mean, I think to play Dirk Advocaat once again on this podcast, I think if you were to be a neutral, you would have thought, you know, 1-1 was possibly a fair result, really. You know, we just did not look. Yeah. We did not look like the team. I mean, I don't know. Like I said earlier on,
we didn't lose.
We didn't lose. No, and they've not won. So you know. And
we came out with what, in the context of MK Dons and AFC, was always going to be a difficult game. But you know, if that was, I mean, if we played Crewe again, for instance, or we played Doncaster, not even Doncaster, but you know, Gillingham, Morecambe, but someone like that.
Yeah.
You know, and the strolls that we had against Shrewsbury, Crewe. Again, there's obviously the atmosphere and the whole Dons AFC thing had an effect on the game, clearly. But you know, if it had been anybody else in the same position, then it probably wouldn't have ended up the same result and the same performance as Cambridge, Crewe.
Yeah, I mean, it's irritating, like you said earlier on. You know, it's irritating because it's them. If you'd gone to, I don't know, another team and they'd played like that, you know, you would have thought, fair enough. But because it was them, you know, you're thinking, this is a bit shit, this. A team that's not won since God was a boy, you know, and like, you know.
But like you say, if I was an AFC fan, I'd be disappointed that my team couldn't get themselves up to play like that for the previous 21 games where they hadn't won a game.
But we turn up and they're playing like, well, they weren't playing like Real Madrid, you know. They were all right. You know, the first half, I thought, I mean, they were all right. They were better than us in the first half. I'd be lying if I say, well, I mean, you know, they won the first half, we won the second half. So, you know, they were, you know, technically they were a bit better than us, but it was. Do
you think they'll go down? I mean,
do you think they'll go down?
They're 3 points off the safety.
To be honest with you, I mean, we said it on here a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? We said it when we were on that, like, SE's live Facebook stream. I genuinely, honestly think they've got enough in them, to stay up. Really,
well, looking at that bottom four, I think, although Gillingham are above them, they're on the same points. I think Gillingham are going down. Doncaster and Crewe. And Crewe already gone, obviously. Doncaster down, Gillingham down. So really, it's between AFC, Morecambe and Fleetwood. Those three for the last place, really. And Fleetwood have got a game in hand. Morecambe, obviously, they're coming to us, bless them. I'm hoping that by the time we play them, that it might all be sorted. But Oh, by the way, I'm now sort of almost on the verge of optimism.
Oh, you think we won't actually not? You think we'll make the playoffs, Tony? Is that what you're saying? We'll make the playoffs?
Well, I'm pretty sure, actually, technically, we're still mathematically not in the playoffs.
You're clinging on to that, then.
Yeah, but I'm pretty certain that we will probably be at least in the playoffs. But after last night's result,
Rotherham got an absolute kicking, didn't they? 3-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they've got plucky at Ipswich on Saturday.
Don't forget that house, Tony, we're going to get if they don't go up.
Oh, can't wait, mate. I've been looking at curtains and carpets and bedroom furniture.
In case you're wondering what we're talking about, Tony's now going to tell you. Tell him, Tony.
After the Ipswich game at our place, an Ipswich fan texted in asking us what game we were watching, because we were convinced that instead of being 1-1, we should have beaten Ipswich that day. And JT rather vehemently had declared that Ipswich were not good enough to go into the playoffs.
I said that, Tony.
To which our Ipswich caller said that he put his house on Ipswich getting in the playoffs.
This is on our radio show, wasn't it? We texted him.
Well, you're 8 points off the playoffs, mate, and you've got 4 games left.
Oh, he must be sweating, Tony, that bloke.
And you've got Wickham and Oxford between you.
Don't know how we're going to do this. Are we going to split it up and down, or are we going to do the old Steptoe And Son and build a wall?
I don't know. We should do some sort of sitcom thing where we draw a line down the middle of the house and I get the fridge but you get the bathroom or something. I don't know.
We could do like the old Morecambe And Wise. Couldn't we get the old pyjamas on, go to bed, same bed? That sounds alright.
They were simpler times.
Oh, they were, Tony.
Times. No one questioned it.
No one.
No one questioned it.
One of the funniest things I can remember it.
Perfectly normal.
I'll always remember this, and it's like I think I must have only been, I don't know, I don't even think I was 10 at the time, but they were doing that, weren't they? They were in the old bed, Morecambe And Wise, and like a police car, went past outside with the old siren going, no, and old Eric Morecambe goes, he's not going to sell very many ice creams going that fast.
Yeah, that is a classic, isn't it?
Which of course is hilariously funny. I'm going to save that, Tony, for when we get that guy's house from him.
Yeah, actually, that man, that very funny man, Eric Morecambe.
Yeah.
So they, Rotherham are at home to Ipswich on Saturday. We're going to also plan on Saturday at 5:15, and then obviously we're on in the evening slot.
Yeah.
So we will know all the important scores before we kick off.
We will.
Well before we kick off, actually, because Rotherham's is at 12:30.
Yep.
So we'll know by.
I'm not sure I'm going to watch that. I shall be watching that.
Yes, actually, I may well watch that. And when we've got Friday's results, really nothing there
nothing for us,
is of too much interest other than Plymouth playing Wickham. But
you're hoping for a draw there, aren't you? In the grand scheme of things,
now.
Just hoping that's a draw, Plymouth Wickham. To be quite honest.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it now, again, what a difference a couple of weeks makes. We're now second, 3 points ahead of Rotherham, who have got a game in hand and the superior goal difference. But that goal difference took a bit of a kick in last night. And they're still, albeit 6 goals better off than us. But if they draw against Ipswich, if they draw or lose to Ipswich, then it is in our hands. It's entirely our own destiny.
Well, that's not a good thought, is it? To be quite honest with you.
No, that's why I like the looking up. the safety of disappointment. But we're just, I don't know, mate. What is it? 16, 17 games unbeaten now.
We're going done all right. Right. Anyway, getting back to the game, I think, like I said earlier on, I think 1-0 probably was fair enough. Good goal from us. At half time, I wandered down to the where their concessions were, and to be quite honest with you, I thought their concession stands were all right. There was plenty of them.
Did they open up the bar that they promised to open?
God, they were. Yeah, that was well stocked. I mean, I had like a pint of Stella, to be quite honest. I thought I might as well just have a drink. It was all right, Had a drink. I was wandering about. Now, I've repeatedly said, Tony, having it on here, if you see me, what did I say? I said, don't come and talk to me. Did I not say that loads of times?
You definitely did say that, yeah.
So I'm standing in the amount of people that come up. People, Tony, I have absolutely no idea who they are, right? None at all. Come up and goes, oh, I love the podcast, John. Oh, the podcast's brilliant, mate. And I'm thinking, oh, well, listen, mate. And I'm thinking, well, you obviously don't listen because you wouldn't be coming up and talking to me, would you? Anyway, if you were one of those people that did come up and speak to me, I'll be honest with you, it made me feel, I was quite chuffed, to be quite honest, because I had never seen these guys in my life before. It was a bit odd, isn't it, when people are coming up, calling you by your name and telling you how great you think your podcast is. So, yeah. But what happened at half time, Tony, when I went down to the bar, the old police spotter, he had actually spotter written on his bloody fluorescent jerkin thing. He's pointing to people. The old coppers going in, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? They grabbed this guy, right? The old headlock. Two of the other guys opened this door and they just chucked this guy out. And I'm thinking, blimey, that must have happened about 4 or 5 times. So obviously, I don't know what these people were doing. Like in the first half, but they weren't taking any prisoners. The old coppers, they had a list and they went through them, and these guys were chucked straight out. The only thing that was missing is when they opened the door was the old copper booting one of them up the arse to get him out the door, So I don't know what had happened, but I mean, you seen what happened when we scored, didn't you? Like, there was 3 or 4 bloody smoke bombs, wasn't it? I mean, they let a smoke bomb off when they scored, so, I ain't really bothered about smoke bombs. I'm amazed they got them in, because they were quite literally searching everyone, and I'm including people in wheelchairs. They were doing full body searches on everyone. So how on earth, you can manage to get a smoke bomb?
They stick them in their crotchal area.
I did think that. I thought, God, I wouldn't like to be
underneath the old testes.
Yeah. Is that how you sneak them in, Tony? When you're bringing them in,
they can't touch you, really.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. And then when we were coming out, it was the same situation as we went in. We walked through the streets and there were lined by coppers and security guards. I got on the coach and there was a load of people walking past, and then you could see something happening further up the road. You could see the old, blue lights flashing. And then there was loads of coppers and they were running through the crowd and they were just pushing people out the way, They weren't like, they were just pushing all the, I'm assuming they were MK fans. And then two mounted policemen. And they weren't galloping, right? Because, I'm a horse owner, so I know what galloping is. But they weren't hanging about. And they did genuinely knock 2 or 3 people over, these horses. I'm not joking. And then, of course, when we were held for about half an hour. And I'm thinking, oh, come on, fuck's sake. I want to get home here. Come on, it's an hour and a half drive. Come on. And then when they let us go, when we got to the end of the road, there was a guy there in handcuffs and absolutely covered in blood, this lad. And of course his girlfriend was there, the old girlfriend. He's done nothing, let him go. It was, I thought to myself, well, he's obviously done something. And that was it. I mean, we got out. There was 2 or 3 of them kind of standing there as we went down, giving us the old, wanker sign sort of thing. But getting home was alright. We went the way we should have gone, M1, M25, M3 sort of thing. We were back home. I was back home by about 7 o'clock. It was actually alright. The journey home was fine. But
yeah.
I don't know what he'd done, that bloke, but oh God, he was absolutely, blood was pouring out his head. I've never seen anything like it. It was all over the wall. It was all over the ground. His girlfriend's like, let him go. He's done nothing. I think, well, he's done something. I guarantee you he has. Handcuffs up the back. It was just like, God's sake. But I mean, I said at the beginning of this, I said I'd go. It's done now. I would never go back. Never in a million years would I go back.
I've still got a ticket off. I will do it at some point, but maybe that's just one that I'll never do, perhaps, because, I was, one foot on the coach type thing before I decided that, no, I'm definitely not going. Because I said when I got there quite early to assist, about 9:30ish, I think it was, and I just thought, nah, I don't feel well enough, and I really can't be dealing with a day like today. I mean, I've sat in grounds, I've sat in away games where I've been felt ill, and I've been there because I want to be there, but I didn't want to be there on Saturday. I was purely going as a tick in the box to say that I'd been to a specific ground at least once.
There was a fella there. He's on the concrete roundabout. I can't remember his name now, but he did say, I was introduced to him kind of thing, and he did say, I've only come here purely, for the 92 kind of thing. It's one I need to tick off for my thing. It's actually not a bad ground, I'll be honest. I mean, I was expecting it to be a lot more amateurish and half-arsed than it was. It's actually alright, to be quite honest.
But the surroundings are really ugly, aren't they? It's like, it just...
In the middle of an
the first thing that sprung to mind when
estate,
I saw it was Blade Runner.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of is like tall, imposing, depressing.
It's quite
concrete.
funny, because as you look at the, we were in the away end, as you look at the home end, behind the home end, and I'm not exaggerating, I've taken a picture and I might well stick it up on the old Twitter account. There's a wall behind them, right, and if that wall is 150 feet high, I'm underestimating how high that wall is. And once again, Frankie goes, do you know what this place reminds me of? And I said, is it a prison exercise yard? And he goes, yes, that's exactly what it looked like, mate. This wall, I'm not joking with you, Tony.
I mean, what is that? What is that building?
I've no idea.
No windows. I mean, I
nothing,
can imagine.
No. The only thing that was kind of missing out of that, Tony.
The game for free, but
yeah, I mean, the only thing that
I should think not being able to watch the game this season for them is a blessing.
It's a blessing. The only thing that was missing off that wall was at one point, where someone was going to chuck off some knotted blankets on it and try and escape. Just think, I mean, that wall. I'm not joking with you, Tony. That wall was 150 feet high, just solid brick wall. You're thinking, wow, that's a view in it to look. I mean, they can't see it, can they? Because obviously they're,
It was ugly. I mean, I saw that photo and I thought,
what is that about?
It's not going to win any awards,
no,
is it?
It was not.
For the
No.
view.
I mean, I'm a man that likes brutalist architecture. I really do. But,
there is a limit.
There is a limit. And the limit is a 150 foot high wall behind your goal,
Makes the Barbican look like the Hanging Gardens of Babylon.
It does, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of flats, wasn't it, like apartments kind of thing round it, but they were on the sort of left-hand side, but on the right-hand side was all like, like breakers yards and industrial units with padlocks on gates and stuff. I thought, well, this doesn't look very good, but that is what it is. I wouldn't go back. I 100%, I'll never go back. I sort of regret going, to be quite honest, because I think it would have been better for me if I hadn't gone. Better in the long run. To just think
what I've never understood about Wimbledon and latterly AFC is the most affluent football fans in all of football back in the day were Wimbledon fans. Yeah. Now you can understand that because SW is a nice area and leafy suburbs and all that sort of thing, but and now actually weirdly, and I haven't checked this for a while, but MK Dons fans are the most affluent, which I find bizarre.
Well, short of a bob or two,
I can sort of see it. Yeah, I can see it to a certain extent. But how can a club that has the most affluent fans just be an absolute cesspit of shite?
It was terrible. I mean, it really was quite. I don't know. I mean, I can remember going to. Well, I've never been to. No, I have actually. I haven't been to Parkhead. I went there once. I can remember we were coming out in the coach and it was so bad we had to lay on the floor of the coach while they chucked, coins and stuff at us. That was years ago. That must be the best part of 40 years ago. But I can remember that. But I can remember it being like, it is what it is when you go there. But I think it's a passage of time, really. And the fact that it's 2022 and yet they still behave like that, which just took my breath away.
Yeah, really, I always say the same thing about Bristol Rovers fans, who still seem to be living in an era where you had this scarf tied around your wrist, and I actually saw that at Bristol Rovers. Fans with the scarves tied around their wrist and around their waist as well. Do you remember that one?
I remember that, yeah.
That's from the 70s. That is when no one was fat because no one could afford to eat.
That's coming back, Tony. That people.
Well, I tell you what. We look at some photos of football fans from the 60s and the 70s and 80s, and there were no fat people in the 60s and 70s. Not a single. No one was fat, and I don't know what it is. Whether there wasn't enough food to eat, or I can't imagine their diets were better, but I would imagine that food was probably a lot less processed than it is now.
That's the thing. Look
at all these photos and thinking, I haven't yet seen a single fat person. And now you go in Club Red and it's like fucking Weight Watchers Club.
Can't get in the door.
Well, literally can't get through the door. Yeah.
So in retrospect, I think 1-1 was probably a fair enough result. I know everyone's going to disagree with that, but if you're looking at it dispassionately,
I don't think our fans would necessarily. I mean, certainly from what I've read on the concrete roundabout, it doesn't seem that anybody would dispute. Yeah. And there's certainly no one saying that we deserve to win anyway.
We didn't deserve to win. If we had won, I mean, it would have been absolutely. I hate to think what would have happened if we got a second goal towards the end. God's sake, I hate to think.
Yeah, well, you're talking to a man who has been
I've just remembered something about the guy that ran on the pitch when we scored. Have you seen that
Honestly,
video?
mate, I dread to think what would have happened had we won that game.
One of our guys ran on the pitch when we scored. Have you seen the video of what happened?
Oh, yeah, and then someone, again, reading the reports from both sides, as it were. Our fans saying the bloke threw a punch at him and completely missed.
No, he hit him.
Others are saying he got knocked out.
He didn't get knocked out. What happened was he ran on the pitch, this bloke, when we scored. 2 or 3 other guys tried to do it, but he managed to get right in front of all of them. And he's, doing the old sideways run thing and giving it the old come on and all that. And then he get pulled to the ground. I mean, this is how I remember it. Probably not what actually happened. He get pulled to the ground. And as he get pulled to the ground, one of their supporters jumped the fence, run up and punched him, and then walked back to his seat, and he's once again giving it the old high fives and getting pats on the back and stuff. Just thought, you've just jumped the fence, mate, and punched someone. I mean, he deserved it. The guy, he did deserve it. You just think, oh, come on, mate.
I mean, to be honest, if you're going to do that, then you probably deserve everything you get, whether you're an MK Dons fan or anyone else. I'm not going to argue with that at all, but. It's just the different versions of the same thing that you get. Yeah, I mean,
according to them, he got, according to them, their guy, punched him and, knocked him out. That's not what happened, He was being held down by 2 or 3 stewards. Their guy ran up. He
actually fell over anyway, didn't he? Or slipped over.
I can't remember. I mean, their guy ran up while he was being held down by stewards and just sucker punched him, so... And when he was being taken away in front of all us, we were singing a song and he was joining in, this bloke. It was quite funny. That was quite funny, I must say. So there we go. It was a odd day. I mean, I think people have got the wrong end of the stick with me. I didn't feel intimidated by going. It's just something that I sort of wish that
There's always something there. There's always...
always
the threat of... that something could happen, and... As I say, having been there when something did happen, that's what's really put me off. That was, as I say, the most terrifying experience of my entire life, and I'm not joking now.
I wouldn't trust their stewards.
That was the most terrifying evening of my for a good what felt like 30 seconds. I thought, well, this is it. I'm probably not going to get murdered, if I'm completely honest. I don't think they'd go that far, but you never know. But I am going to get a kick in. I am definitely 100% going to get a kick in here. And it's been playing on my mind ever since. And I'm genuinely now traumatised.
You'd be wondering to yourself, Tony, what would have happened if that middle-aged man, had actually got to Louis during the warm-up, what he would have done. You think, I mean... Is it one of these situations where he gets up there and he thinks, oh shit, what am I going to do now? Or is he such a head case that he would have gone there and done something, I wouldn't put it past them to do something, to be quite honest.
Well, this is the thing, to actually go onto the pitch in the first place and then do... I mean, I can't we've seen it a few times in football and this season as well, where a player's run onto the pitch. But how sad is your life that you could get that wound up by a man you've never met, you've never spoken to, you've no idea what he's like. I mean, Louis loves all that shit. He absolutely loves it. You know, if you want to abuse me for 90 minutes when I'm taking a throw or when I'm standing on the pitch, bring it on. He will take that all day.
He certainly was laughing, I'll give you that. I mean, he was laughing when they were having a go at him, when he tried to...
But the thing is, there's no point in reacting.
No.
Because then you end up being the bad guy, and you're the one that ends up in the papers, you're the one that ends up in front of the FA, and so, you know, you've either got to just stand there and take it, or just stand there and laugh at him, which is precisely what he did.
Right, so we move on then to this weekend coming.
Yes, so obviously our game's been pushed out.
Yeah, that's annoyed me immensely, that has.
We are the last game on Saturday.
It's not ruined my weekend, but if someone was going to ruin my weekend, you know what they would have said? You know, let's ruin that guy's weekend by moving his football game to 7:45 on a Saturday night. That's really annoying. Well, there's nothing you can do. It is what it is. It means I've got to drive now, you know. I can't have a drink kind of thing, you know. What can you do?
Yeah, and it's an awkward time as well, because my daughter wants to go out beforehand, but you know, by the time the game finishes, it will be my bedtime.
Yeah, it'll be 10 o'clock, won't it? Easily.
Yeah, and if I've had a couple of pints before,
that's you done, isn't it?
I can't drive home. There's no way any sane person walks from the stadium to Bean Hill anyway.
Not that far, is it?
It's not far, but I'm talking about there's a certain part of that journey
you would not like to go.
Which is completely hidden from the road.
Oh no!
From any point of view. I mean, the grid system, don't get me wrong, is wonderful. The grid system is brilliant.
If you're in a car, Tony.
The major flaw is that
underpasses,
large
Tony.
Parts of it, you are completely on your own. I mean, I've done it many a time walking back from CMK and trying to find a route. But in the end, you just end up walking on the main roads because it's not safe. It
is annoying. I mean, it is irritating. I mean, if it had been away, I would have been thinking it was possibly the best thing in the world, because I could have just sat at home and watched it and had a couple of drinks. But it's at home, so how do you think we'll do? It's a difficult one to call.
Sheffield Wednesday, I mean, we're the form team. We really are smashing it, but they're on a decent run, and I don't know. I mean, you would hope that we could get something from that, but what I'm thinking is that could we afford to lose this? Because everybody seems to think we'll be all right with Sheffield Wednesday, but we could quite probably lose against Oxford.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, we're worried about Oxford for obvious reasons, but they've lost 3 in a row. I mean, they'll play again. They'll play this weekend
Friday,
before us, so we'll know what their score is. But I can't see them losing 4 in a row, and for me that just makes them even more dangerous when we play them on the Tuesday.
You know what you're going to get with Robert, don't you? That's the thing, you know. He's not going to do us any favours.
I mean, they're at Fleetwood.
Yeah.
It's a fair old journey, but it should be fairly leisurely because it's the Easter weekend, and
they'll probably go Thursday, won't they?
I would imagine, yeah.
That's a bad day to go, because the Thursday before Good Friday is traditionally the busiest day on the roads, isn't it?
Yeah, but what I mean is that they have got the time to get there at their leisure with it won't be a case of get there before the game starts, get off the coach, get changed and go on the pitch. They will take their time. We went to Fleetwood away. I think it was coming towards the end of the season. Cole put us in the Hilton in Blackpool.
Oh, that sounds nice.
It's all very nice and relaxed. I mean, again, it was an 80s throwback. The hotel was terrible. But it was nice because we got there nice and early. We all went for a nice long walk. We had a nice dinner. Eventually had a nice dinner because they bollocksed up the menu for us. then we went for another walk after dinner, and then the following morning we went out for another walk, and it was just all very nice and relaxed. And
did we win?
We won the game, yeah.
And then we lost.
Yeah, but so Fleetwood away for Oxford. They've just lost 3 in a row. I'm not actually sure if Carl has. I certainly can't remember him losing more than 3 in a row with us. 3 seemed to be his limit. Yeah, when we had a blip, it did tend to be three in a row, and some very odd results. So I'm as worried about Oxford as I am Sheffield Wednesday, to be honest with you. And I think those 2 games,
they're 2 difficult games, aren't
what
they?
Happens. Because you think after that, there's only 2 games.
Yeah, 4 games left, aren't there? Oh my God.
Yeah, you think, we got the rest, but it's 2 games in 3 or 4 days, and that will pretty much determine our season and whether we're in control of our own destiny or not.
Yeah, so I don't know what to say. Difficult to say, innit? I mean, I've said it on here for as long as I can remember. It's Oxford that I'm worried about more than anything else this season. It really is, especially when we're playing them. Third last game, we just think, we don't need any of that. But we could, it's in our like you say, by Saturday night it could be in our hands, couldn't it? You just never know, do you?
Yeah, we're actually playing. As Rotherham's game, they're not playing on the Monday either. They're playing on the Tuesday against Burton.
Did not know that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just terrifying, mate. You know what I'm like with this stuff. I don't deal with it.
Right, let's wind this up then, because that's nearly an hour after last week's 10 minutes.
Yes, I've got to just do quick predictions for Sheffield Wednesday and Oxford then before we go.
I'm going to go 1-1. 1-0 both games to us.
I'll go 2-0 both games for us.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Right. Unfortunately, Tony, I can't do next Wednesday night. I can only do next Thursday. Is that going to be a problem for you?
Nah, that'll be fine with me.
That's right, because I've got the vet coming to me horses on Thursday, which means I've got to bring them in Wednesday night, and it's a palaver bringing them in. So if we say next...
You have to take them to the vet?
No, we have to bring them in from the field and put them in stables and everything.
That can't be. That's got to be.
No, the vet comes to us. They're mobile vets, so we've got to bring them in, stable them up, straw them down. It's a real nuisance. It's a lot of work, so I can't do next Wednesday. So sorry. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, where's that podcast next week? It's going to be a day late. So there you go. Can I say nothing? Right. So we've done our predictions. I've moaned about Wimbledon. I've eaten a pizza. Don't know what Tony's done. He's told us how ill he is. There it is. Been alright this week, isn't it? Back to the old format, Tony, after my solo effort last week, which I must admit was probably... I didn't listen back to it, but I'm assuming it was a bit crap. Just me and myself.
I didn't even know you'd done one on your own.
I did. I thought I'd do one, keep the momentum going, but probably in retrospect that was a bit of a bad idea, really. But hey ho, what can you do? What can you say? Right, we're back. So we will be back. Well, yeah, it'll be possibly next Friday. It depends how quickly I can get it edited. So that's us. That's it. We didn't beat Wimbledon. It was a shit day out. What can I say? Are we done?
We're done.
Right, done. See you sometime next week. It'll either be Thursday or Friday. Bank on Friday if I was you.
Yeah.
Right, see ya.